It is 8:30 and we will call this meeting to order. It's November the 27th. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Ate a lot of pie, ate a lot of turkey. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, we'll go on to the agenda. I need to acknowledge the minutes from November 30th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
November 30th? November 20th.
You're right. Wait, I
Yes.
think, yeah. You're right, November 20th. I'm just trying to rush things along. At any rate, a motion to approve. Aye.
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 I know we had a second, so I think we should approve them as well. Motion passed. Meet with the county engineer. Morning, Dwayne. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope the supervisors had a wonderful weekend. We had a little dusting of snow the weekend. A couple of guys went out and did some of the bridges as the snow accumulates more on bridge decks. We sprinkled some salt and sand out here behind on the north side of the courthouse because I drove
Thank
through
you.
here this morning and saw that there's pretty good ice slick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had saw Brandon this morning. He said he'd done that. And today.
Mhm.
Thank you for that.
Certainly. Don't have a whole lot. Mother Nature kind of shut down our ditching and dirt operation on Tamarack and Palm. But supposedly next week it'll warm up, so if it's not too slimy, we may get another week's worth of work on those two projects. With the road work being shut down to graders, probably after that, we'll get working on cutting brush from underneath bridges and the other general maintenance kind of work that we do all winter long. Let's see, we received approval from the DOT for our Iris Avenue Bridge, so that one is pretty well completely done, except for seeding that we'll do in the spring. I really don't have a whole lot else to chat about.
Thanks.
That's okay. Thank you. Next item is to discuss and consider flashing lights at the intersection of 185th Street and Highway 1.
Should I stay for that?
Yeah, probably should. We had some folks in there the other day talking to us about an accident that occurred there. Not only banged them up quite a bit, but the other person passed away because of that accident. Dwayne, can I ask what this cost? Do you have the money in your budget?
Yeah, it's actually for just, we can, so we can't put flashing signs at the stop lights at the stop signs because those belong to the
I wondered
DOT.
about that.
But the stop ahead signs are ours. And we can do the solar or the solar powered flashing yellows on the stop ahead signs for, I want to say about $1,500 each. So I think coming from the west, there's a hill and limited sight distance. So at that side of the intersection, we have a stop ahead on each side of the road. And I think we'd want a flashing yellow on each one of those. And then coming from the east, there's better sight distance. One stop ahead sign. So we'd be looking at basically around $5,000 for the three signs.
Yeah, and you've got that.
So the question I have is, and it's not a question about doing it or not doing it. We need to do it. But given the accident and the fatality, is there any money from the DOT for safety?
Yes, there is. There is safety funds available. We would have to wait until August to apply for them again, and we would not get the money until a year from July.
So,
I don't think that's acceptable. I think we need to do this
Well,
now.
I'm just, but can we go ahead and apply and get?
No, we can't get reimbursed
Okay.
for money already spent. And that's, I was looking into that money for the 1/10 project for some safety things I wanted to do with that.
Okay,
And because of the way that grant's funded, we can't apply for that money from them either, because we're letting that project as soon as we get the federal money. And again, with the state, we would have to wait until July to let the project, and that won't work with the timeline of the other grant, which is very discouraging.
I'm gonna make
That's
a
the way it
motion that we go ahead and do what you suggested with the flashing lights at the intersection of 185th and 41.
I second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion passed. Thank you
Can we
very
still
much.
reach out to the DOT and see if they put red lights on the stop signs?
I'll get a hold of Mr. Young at the District 5 office.
Thanks for doing that, Dwayne. Moving on, discuss and consider hiring Austin Rowe as a naturalist, Jefferson County Conservation.
Any questions? We're losing an employee, as you know, and Austin is here. This is Lee, Dee, and Susie, our
Nice to meet you.
supervisors.
Has he explained to you that I have a reserved psych out at the
He
campground?
just
Okay,
started
let's
like
stick
a
with-
half hour
let's-
ago.
Let's stick with the issue. Lee. When would you start? When would you Austin start?
Starting today.
Ah,
So tell us about yourself.
yeah.
I grew up in Eddyville. I've
Okay.
been working for Wapello County Conservation the last year. I lived in Fairfield for a while, worked at Hy-Vee. Was in the Marine Corps, went to school at Kansas State University.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I believe our girls beat you last night.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the Cyclones game?
I didn't. No, I don't watch a lot of sports, but
Especially cyclone.
yeah.
Discuss
They won.
and consider hiring Austin as a naturalist. I make that motion.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Welcome aboard,
Thank you.
okay?
Yeah. welcome.
Somebody's got to watch Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I believe it's site 17.
17.
17, yeah.
Discuss and consider a pay increase for Kristen Bernstead, Jefferson County Conservation.
Okay, so Kristen was hired as a technician in May. She's gone through, well, she's passed her 6-month probationary period, but she's also, when we hire them, we're trying to get them certified as a law enforcement officer, but sometimes they don't fit the qualifications. But she has met all those and has begun some of her training, did some stuff with the sheriff's department. She'll be going to the academy in January,
Okay.
the law enforcement academy. So her pay needs to reflect law enforcement position versus a technician position. And I will say, this is all just some shuffling in my budget. I'm not asking for more money to do this, so.
I would make a comment that is, you're quite lucky to find some good folks. Good
Yes.
folks are hard to find to fill those
Yeah.
positions.
It can be, and I hope we're on the right track still, so.
Motion to approve.
Motion,
Second,
motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
She already knows about site 17.
Yeah, she's familiar with Lee.
And our condolences. to her.
and she still wants to work.
Yeah.
Discuss and consider abating taxes on parcel 0626382903. I have no idea exactly what they say this.
Business marketing, Mark.
If you look at this, we're being asked to abate taxes for 0626382903, owned by Terry Pash.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, come on up.
Yeah, come on up. $705.
This was a mobile home on this lot and she never owned it. But she's been spouse for 3 years and she's become deceased. She's deceased in February. And I didn't realize it was still on the tax docket, or I guess she probably didn't, because she bought this for her son and for him to live in. And then he moved out of there and then some squatters or something moved in, caught it on fire, and she had to have the sheriff's department tape it all off and all that. And then finally she had votes who owned the property there, just scrap it. And I brought the title in and gave it to Mark. And that was right after she passed. And then I just received this tax thing. So I'm wanting to get this off the tax docket, and because it's no longer there and she doesn't own any property or anything.
Help me out here.
Yeah.
Where is this property?
East 15th Street,
Okay,
you
okay.
know, where, the Hy-Vee gas, the next
Yeah,
block up, and
yeah.
then right down about a block or so, a couple blocks, right in that area, right behind boats, lower boats.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
No, it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll make the motion, that we abate the taxes on this parcel.
I
It's
second.
$705.
I second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Congratulations.
okay,
Thank you for being here.
okay. So I need to have it in paperwork, anything else, that's taken care of. And
Harry, he'll take care of all of this. He doesn't need to do anything. That's okay.
okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Double sign.
207 South 15.
The next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider windows at public health building.
Yeah, I put this on, I got what was it? I think this one was a public Board of Health. But anyway, we've talked about those windows on the north side of the building and the wind and stuff that comes through. And Luke Construction submitted a bid for $2,691.89 to replace those windows. And it says framing material, jamb extensions, insulation, trim, and I believe they're Anderson single hung vinyl windows for the north side of that building.
Joe, are you here representing the Board of Health?
I'm on the Board of Health.
Do we need to get another bid? Because typically we do.
You know, Lee, I guess my thought is when we had our space meeting, we were talking about the possibility of moving public health early next year. And so we were going to we had talked about putting these windows in. We talked about not putting them in because why put them in if we're gonna be moving them. So I wonder what changed your mind.
Well, I don't know that it necessarily changed my mind, but we hadn't had a bid before either. So we didn't know what the costs were. And
Yeah, I know
the
that
cost-
they,
It seems reasonable.
And the cost to heat the building probably would drop, which in the long run might pay for the cost. So I was surprised that.
yeah, I was
cost
surprised at
was
the
that
cost
low.
because we'd heard things from whatever it does, 27, 30,000. And I don't remember when that was or when it came out of the air.
So, I mean, I do think that they would obviously be more energy efficient. And what we plan on doing or what we hope to do and what turns out to be reality sometimes is two different things. So I guess the question I have is, are we dollars ahead
Right,
to do this?
I would like to see a second bid.
yeah, just because we're trying to get that on other things, I think we need to be consistent
Yeah,
there,
me
although
too.
I do think this is probably a great bid.
The only concern I have, Elizabeth, is since we announced
Yeah, the now,
the dollar amount to seek another bid, is that,
That seems problematic.
it does to me too.
Right, because generally you would accept sealed bids
Right.
and then you take the lowest one.
well, and we should be the ones that put the bid out,
Correct.
Yes.
if it's coming out of our budget.
Oh, no, that's the process you could go through again.
Would it come out of our budget or?
It would come out of the building's line item. I mean, because it's.
Just
our
wanted to
building.
clarify that.
Yeah,
But at the Board of Health meeting, we okayed to get a bid,
right.
to receive a bid to see how much it would cost, so.
So
When
this
did-
is helpful in that. thing.
Joe, when
Yeah.
did you do that? The 16th?
How
That's
long
when
did
you
we have
have,
a board meeting? 2 weeks ago?
May I speak, or Susan,
What?
may I speak?
Oh, I'm so sure.
It was the 16th, but
That's what I thought.
we had a discussion previous and we had indicated if I got a quote for the Board of Health, that it would be brought back to the Board of Health and to the supervisors. One of the windows also leaks,
oh, I didn't realize it.
so, yeah.
So
there's some
Mike,
water.
we need to be incredibly fair here, open. This bid was given to us on November the 14th, 2 days before your meeting.
Well, I can't control.
I
the
think
contract.
I just think we need to somehow open that up again. I just want to be fair. Yep. I just want to be fair.
I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm just, it makes no sense not to do it.
Right,
And even if you sell the building, it would enhance the value of the building because you don't have a window that leaks.
We just need to,
well, and I don't think realistically anything's gonna happen with that building in short order.
You know, probably,
But I
You're
do
still
think we
gonna-
need to be consistent with the bid process, since this is our budgeted item. It'd be different if it was a Board of Health budget item, so.
Can I ask a point of clarification? Is there a written process or procedure for obtaining bids?
I mean, it's
And
Iowa code.
Can I have a copy of it so I know how to?
Yeah.
For the Board of Health, so I know how to move forward with that.
I would also say that, just for reference, even if we had a change in circumstances at the building, like you say, until such time as, who knows, when all that's gonna take place, we still would be heating the building.
Right.
So,
I
So
think
are-
the bid is very reasonable. I just think we need to be consistent.
no, that's
in
fine.
our
I, like I said,
process.
I don't have a dog in the hunt as far as that part of it goes. So are we going to ask the Board of Health to seek, to rebid it, or however you want to say it?
yes,
You
I
want
believe
us
it
to
should
do
come from the Board of Health.
I'm sorry.
It should come from the Board of Health.
Okay. So then I would make a motion to ask the Board of Health to what, Elizabeth? Just put it out for bid, not
Yeah.
necessarily seek multiple bids, but just
Yeah.
put it out for bid.
I would
Yeah.
say so, yeah.
Okay.
I got a question. Is there a certain dollar amount you have to reach before you put it out to bids, or is it
Ne-
anything?
There is in the code that we've been bidding, like we
Yeah.
did the furnace at the 1900 West Burlington, and that was less than this
Yeah.
amount.
I'd have to relook at it. I think it's 10,000
Yeah.
for infrastructure improvements.
So we're just trying to save the taxpayers money, and we're bidding,
Okay.
and we've been doing this,
We've sure been trying to.
yeah, when we know, we haven't always been
Mhm.
informed,
That's right.
Okay,
so yeah. But this is a very good bid.
well, I'm shocked how low it is
Yeah, I
myself.
don't,
Okay, Joe, we still need to do the right thing. We've got this bid. Let's see, okay?
So how long do we have to have it out there, Elizabeth, do you know?
Would be 10 days.
I can find out the exact timeline.
But we need to go forward on this, because if the windows are coming in, the windows should go in.
Well, yeah,
I don't think now's probably the time to put in new windows. I mean, honestly. I've
Okay,
been having
Chris,
this conversation
public
for a long
comments
time.
over.
I'm just adding to this conversation since I
Chris,
have an office.
Chris,
there.
thank you very much. I just think the sooner the better. I don't know. If-
well, yeah,
if-
I just didn't know
if-
how long we wanted it.
Let it go out there, or I don't know, whatever. You know, but I do believe that if we're gonna do it, we should do it soon. So we
Yeah.
should get on this, okay?
Yeah.
So Chauncey is still here, yeah. And Elizabeth is still here, although she looks cold.
I can understand that, Elizabeth, we can. So have them delivered to the auditor's office?
Sure, absolutely.
There's a specific procedure for notice to bidders. So is this something, so are you good, I'm sorry, let's back up. The Board of Health going to be seeking bids?
Yes,
And so you're now directing the Board of Health to seek bids on this project?
yes.
And the Board of Health,
Excuse me.
yeah,
Shouldn't it be us since it's our budget?
It's their building.
right. I was just trying to clarify.
Okay, wait a
because
minute.
that was the
All right,
last
this
word.
might be, if it's, that's where they're housed. They're controlled by the Board of Health. But if you want this money to come out of our money, maybe the bid should come to us.
Mhm.
Because
Well,
they probably don't have the money to do,
We
you don't have
do
the
the
money
bill-
to do that, right?
isn't this in our budget because it's our building?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we have to build it.
So it should come to us.
Mhm.
It's the Board of Health that's housed there, but the Board of Health doesn't
Because-
own the building.
Right,
If they were gonna do it, they wouldn't have even needed to really, other
Right.
than it telling us they were gonna do it since.
yeah, they could have just done it out of their money.
Okay, so you can set the timeline, but I think as long as you give an adequate amount of time for people to submit bids and then give everyone notice of how you're going to be accepting the bids and when you would like them by.
What's the timeline? Is 5 days okay?
I would probably give
Do 10.
longer period of time just so that you can get more than one bid.
10.
10 days, I think.
And is this something that's gonna be undertaken, you're saying now? You're replacing windows?
I mean, if the weather cooperates.
The bid request would probably want to stipulate when the work should
Yeah,
be done.
Yeah,
Well, it needs to be done with their schedule too, obviously.
right,
right.
and, yeah,
And
just
you know,
back to Chris's point, you know, it being winter, I'm not certain.
all I know is that you look at the 10-day forecast, it looks like it's gonna warm up to 50 at some point. But
You may not be able to get some, this is
Right,
outside of
right,
the legal
right.
opinion, obviously,
Right.
but
That's what they're doing. Okay,
So can I play devil's advocate for just a second here?
1 second,
Okay, thank you. Well, two, because I laughed. How much money are we going to spend
getting the bid.
getting the bid?
Good question.
You know, I mean, to ultimately end up coming back. Anyway, I just asked the question. Legally, does it matter?
how much money?
No,
you're
because
gonna
it doesn't
spend
meet
getting-
the threshold.
Well, I'm just saying that. I guess I'm looking at it from the context of, so Joe bids on it, we like Joe's bid, but we have to bid it out, so we spend all this money, because Joe still has the low bid. So we've come full circle, but we spent all this extra money. I understand what Susie's coming from, and she's right, I mean. Anyway, I just thought I'd say that, I don't know why I did, but I did.
I just think we need to get some bids.
No, I get what
And
you're
I
saying.
do think when the bids come in, we should not reveal who the workers are. It's gonna-
What do you do when you open the bid? 'Cause you
We just
announce
open
who-
them here.
We just open them here,
Yeah.
and then we tell them who won. It just, does away with a lot of things by doing it that way.
I mean, you could say who bid and what that dollar amount was, so there's more transparency about why you chose and which bid was the
Absolutely.
lowest.
We've done that.
Okay, so who writes up the notice and gets it in the paper?
I've never done that before.
Okay.
I can work with.
Would
Yeah,
you-
we
would
can
you-
work together.
Okay,
And put something
thank you
together.
very much.
So it'll go in tomorrow? No?
Thursday is when it local gets published.
Oh, okay.
The deadline to get it into the paper is either today or tomorrow.
Tuesday.
It's. You can't just get it in like you used to be able to.
Got progress, they say. Okay, and so then we run it, I'm asking these so we can make a motion. So then we run it, it's today the 27th, so we run it to
30th and the 7th.
the 30th and the last.
I don't think it's
Yes.
26.
That works. Close 7.
When do you want bids due by?
10 days? So that's what was
Okay,
discussed.
so what's the 30th and the 7th? If the bids aren't due by then? Isn't that what you said?
Not running it in the paper.
Right.
Right.
Those are 2 Thursdays that it could run.
Oh,
Do you think you guys could get it done by the 30th?
Should be able to.
All right. So we've got it in as soon as we can.
right. But do we have to run it twice?
Let's just run it once.
Yeah.
The question is, are you trying to get as many bids as possible, seen by as many people as possible, or just tick the box that you put it out the bids?
I think we're trying to make sure
Check the
we
box.
have an open thing. So if there wants to be another bid, we've got another bid.
While at the same time, knowing whether window is potentially. So then the other question I have is. We would expect this to be rebid.
Yes. With a different date on it.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
So what's the exact date that you want?
Today's the
in
20
office?
27th.
That's good, Lee. You're sharp.
She asked what the exact date was.
No, that you want the bids in the office, due by time and date.
By,
It's December
well,
8th.
it's not gonna run till the 30th. I guess you have to wait till,
What, December 7th?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a week.
That's a week.
Do
You wanna give it
December
till the end?
7th, and then we can look at them on the 11th.
By 4 o'clock on the 7th of
Yeah.
December, and then we'll open the bids on Monday, the 11th,
Okay.
December 11th, or December 7th at 4.
in the auditor's office. Date stamped or whatever you do to it.
Okay, so we agreed on
The
that?
exact date.
Yeah.
Lee, so we're agreed on that?
Yeah, so consider that a motion, because I can't
Okay,
repeat
second.
all of it. Is that okay?
I second that motion.
Okay.
Did you get the motion, Abby?
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I have a favor, Chris. Will you reach back out to,
I'm not going to, we'll give it to Joe
okay,
for the Board of Health to do.
I'm sorry, yeah, okay, yep. Reach back out to Book. Yeah, I think it's.
I don't think we should say the name anymore on that.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I'll make sure that they do that. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider paying computer purchase for environmental health / Board of Health. It is my I'll tell you what I know. It's my understanding that the new environmental health person needs a computer. The old computer used by the prior environmental health person, I believe was 13 years old.
It's old, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and he had IT look at it and they couldn't, wasn't enough room for what they needed on it.
No, any 13-year-old computer. needs
Yeah.
to replace.
So that's part of what we have to do is provide them with a computer.
Any idea on cost?
No, but at
PCS?
our meeting, we talked about allowing up to 15,000 for computer and printer.
15.
My question is
That's
this,
an
We
expensive.
don't know what it's gonna be. He was supposed to get us bids and I have not seen it.
Don't we have to go through PCS?
Yes, they're planning on that.
Hey,
So,
Brian, do you still have that laptop?
Yes,
Are you using it?
yes.
Okay.
They're already using a laptop for public health, but it doesn't have enough storage for all the photos that they have to upload.
yeah.
Mm,
So they need something with bigger memory
Sure.
for that purpose.
sure.
Dwayne, you want to say something?
I think last week you approved the road department to buy one for administrator, and it was under $2,000.
Yeah.
And the extremely high-tech computer that I would use for our drafting with all the bells and whistles is under 3,000. So you should be well under $15,000.
Oh, yeah, we figured that, but we didn't want to have to come back and ask for a little more. But he would have to get it through PCS is the plan.
Well, usually that's what we do because they're our vendor.
They were looking at 2 computers from the meeting that I had with Bruce. They were looking at the possibility of 2 computers. They need to be able to do backup and they need a scanner, copier, fax machine. And they also need to pay for the, like the service for backup and the payment for, what is it, like the gold service or silver service? What is the word I'm looking for?
The PCS stuff.
Yeah, the contracted service agreement, because Dan had no money in his budget for that, and I don't either, so.
So I have some questions.
We don't plan on using that amount, but instead of having to come back to ask for a little bit.
Where's the money gonna come from?
There you go. That's my question.
I'm sorry.
How
Well,
much money is available now in environmental health? And how much money are we gonna spend on Russ every month? So how much money, once we know that, I would like to know that before we approve this.
well, your bill for Russ is $6,500 a month.
Yeah.
6,550, 6,500. All right. As far as how much money is left in the budget, the budget was for 94,000 and some change.
Mhm.
As far as the salary line item, what I mean by that is the salary, the IPERS, the social security.
No, that was on Dan. That wasn't.
Right,
the new
okay.
person.
That was
But,
like 67, wasn't it?
well, but the payout, his last payout was in the neighborhood of $9,000,
Hmm.
which come out of the remaining 47 or whatever. There's like $27,000 left in that salary line item. There's 20-some thousand dollars in projected revenue in his budget. The board.
But we don't look at that revenue right now.
No, I know, but what we're looking at is we know that we're going to have a continued, I can't say it, an ongoing $6,500 a month, okay, for the remaining October, so 9 months, right? Which I think is around, if I do my math right, it's around $57,000. Okay, so that's what would be considered salary and whatnot. But we also, I shouldn't say we, the Board of Health approved a fee increase to $500 for permits. So going into your construction season, your permits will increase. So what Dan projected will be more.
Is there like an Excel spreadsheet that has all this on it so we can see the whole?
Well,
Picture.
whatever Darcy and the auditor's office has as far as,
You know,
because Shannon produced that here
Mhm.
a while back. All I'm saying is that you were asking where it would come from.
Mhm.
And I don't know that there's money. That's the reason they're here asking, is because there isn't enough money in environmental health budget to do.
It looks like there isn't enough money to even finish our debt to Russ on January the 1st of July.
Oh, there will be. That I'm not concerned about because of the revenue and stuff that will be coming
I mean,
in.
you don't have access to that revenue until we do the next budget year. Is that correct?
No. We're
They
talking
could
about
just use it right away, huh?
for this fiscal year.
But
We're
where,
currently in.
I guess I'm concerned that this is gonna cost us more than we budgeted because we know we're gonna face some shortfalls due to that legislative act. So where are we gonna get all of our money from?
I just want to try to figure this out. Like,
Well,
I-
I'm trying to, but I keep getting interrupted.
Okay,
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So as far as the budget goes, that's a separate issue. If the money was in the budget, the Board of Health wouldn't be here asking the question.
Oh, yeah, for the month, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
The budget for this year.
the
It's
current
not in the
fiscal year
budget.
that we're in, right? Okay, because the next fiscal year, we haven't funded yet, so that's irrelevant.
Right.
So what we budgeted was 94,000 and some change for environmental health for this fiscal year. And I don't remember exactly what his revenue was.
I don't know that, but I know that there's $39,022.51 left.
In the salary line.
Would
item.
you repeat that?
$39,022.51.
In the salary line.
I
item?
said how much money is left in the environmental health budget.
Okay. Okay, so that's fine. So, and you're looking at roughly $57,000, I think, if you do 6,500. But we're also looking at permits and other revenue sources coming in. So I'm not terribly concerned about that because we would have the same problem. Because if Dan was still here, there would be that additional 9,000 that we would have to cover is well, we wouldn't cover the 9,000 because we wouldn't be paying out the sick leave. Anyway, point is, they don't have the money in the budget, and that's why they asked for it to be on the agenda to have the conversation. So my only point would be that we still have 80-some thousand dollars left in the CARES money. We didn't seem to have a problem of taking nearly $30,000 out of that to pay for a railroad crossing that wasn't ours. And it seems to me that while I'm not necessarily on board with the 15,000, to cover the cost of the computer, or two, as the case may be, and a printer, like what we purchased, for example, for the ambulance, which was about $2,200, which is probably less than the computer or right about the same price as the computer. So I'm figuring tops $5,000-6,000 to get the equipment. Now, I don't know about something you said, I don't remember.
The
now.
service contracts or.
Yeah, why wouldn't they automatically be included in the contract that we've already purchased?
it seems like they should be part of the
Seems
Board
like
of
they
Health
No,
contract.
I can speak to that.
Okay,
It's so much, when you buy the package for preventative maintenance and what Jerry has presented to you guys before, it's so much a computer per year. So I pay for that for my own department, the public health side of things, but Dan, environmental health's always been responsible for their own budget. So I don't have any extra money in my budget. I've already been subsidizing the environmental health currently with some office supplies because they had no money in their budget for that either. But this is not something that I
Currently,
can
you've been doing
absorb.
that?
Excuse me?
Currently, you've been doing that?
Yes. But I
We
can't,
did not know that. Okay.
yeah, there's been a lot of things that have been going on.
and so, and then the other thing, go ahead.
I just feel public health has their own budget. We don't need to touch that. But we do need to look at how to pay for this.
Well, and then we need to, we have traditionally for years separated out environmental health and public health.
And it should stay that way.
Well, okay, so that's what I'm saying. So, I appreciate that she's helped moving things forward. And obviously, none of us planned on Dan retiring, and that's, I'm not finding fault with Dan. I'm just saying it wasn't something that was planned on. at least from our perspective or from the Board of Health's perspective. So it's kind of a catch-22. At the risk of opening a can of worms that I probably really don't want to open, I'm going to harken back to, not that it was an environmental health budget, but since it wasn't, forget it, I'm not going to go there. I just think that we can look at helping environmental health out using $5,000 or $6,000 out of that CARES funding that's still sitting there. And the reason I say that is because, again, we had a discussion, and the board decided to go ahead and fund that railroad crossing out of those funds. I think in this particular instance,
That may or may not happen though, the crossing
no, I don't know about that, but
hasn't yet. Anyway.
It may not be this construction season.
okay. But the point is that we allocated the funds.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying
Yeah.
is that there
No, I
is,
get it.
so that was my thought process.
Well, definitely a 13-year-old computer needs replaced.
Well, and I don't know how upgradable it is or it isn't as far as that part of it goes, but I do know that as Bruce indicated when he was here and he met with us, we had several letters go out was an understatement. We investigated a situation that was brought to our attention last week in Salina. We have to revisit that because it was raining, so it was difficult to determine, so we had to wait till things dried out a little
I
bit.
think definitely the residents of the county are going to be better served.
I do believe
with
that
us.
that is the case, but I also think that in terms of for Elizabeth and for Chauncey, and they're both used to working with Bruce as far as nuisance goes. He documents the pictures. Everything has to be there. It's on the file. What we're running into, I shouldn't say I'm not there. What they're running into now is, as he indicated, notes in the borders of permits and that sort of thing. And I did do some legwork on behalf of Russ with Kelly. We found that there was a lot of binding agreements. I'm not sure that's the word I want to use, but agreements that were reached between property owners and environmental health that were supposed to be notarized, that they were signatured but not notarized. So at some point in the process, after the fact, because what was in the file was not notarized, but the property was transferred and it was notarized somewhere else after the signature. So we're running into a lot of things. So we just need to, I apologize for saying we. So the process requires, as we've indicated before, that world for him is black and white, and that's how they do business.
Right.
And I think in the long run, the county will be much better served, both in terms of environmental health, but also from a legal stipulation as well. Do you like that word, Chauncey, stipulation? You guys use that word all the time.
On syllables, at least.
Okay.
So to put it in a nutshell, there's a lot to clean up.
I would, how I would say it is that there's a new sheriff in town, so things are going to be done differently.
A lot to clean up.
Yeah, okay.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Instead of having a dollar amount, I suggest you agree to fund a new computer, printer, scanner, whatever, and have them get you a bid from PCS, what it's gonna cost, so you know.
Yeah,
I agree
no,
with
that's
that.
what I was. gonna-
Well, as far as what I would, I agree, Joe, but as far as the copier scanner, I would go to Gordon Flesh for a bid on that rather than PCS.
Yes.
The other thing that Bruce and I had a conversation last week when he was at the office getting a couple things. He's gonna have to be sending out registered letters.
Mhm.
And so that's gonna come with a cost.
Sure.
So there's not money in that budget to expedite that, so.
There's probably gonna be a lot of extra little costs that no one's
Yes.
thinking about right now. But right now, we have to deal with this. The computer, printer, scanner, that whole thing. I agree with Joe. Get some bids quick so we can get this done quick.
Well, PCS ought to be able to turn that around in a phone call. I mean, it's not
Yeah, I know, but we
complicated,
should,
but we need to know
see-
what we're working with.
we need some other things, other folks to do that as well. Since you're on the Board of Health, does that sound good to you? Because you're representing the Board of Health.
Yes,
Okay.
but they're also running into the fact that they've went to Chris for envelopes and postage and stuff. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes,
Because Dan had none of that stuff. So they sent out some letters. Now they're gonna go to the registered letters and stuff. So there's gonna be some extra.
That should
costs.
not be coming out of Chris's money.
Well, they're planning to reimburse her, but he needed it now, and that's where they went and got it.
Mhm.
So,
How much money do you think you've got into that now at this point?
several $100s, which is fine. Bruce needed the
Yeah.
stamps to do his job, so several $100s worth of. things.
Yeah, Chris, the reason I ask is because we need to get that back to you. Okay,
and I appreciate Chris stepping up and doing that for them to keep things rolling.
We are waiting on a quote back from PCS. We can't control when
Oh,
people send a
okay.
quote back.
So that's in process.
It is.
Good. Okay, perfect.
What
That
I'm
was my
curious
next
about, Abby, is one, what we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months into the fiscal year. And you said we had 39,000, and I know we spent 9,000 on that last. So we should have we spent? I know we paid, or I don't know, have we paid the 6,500 for October yet? Because I know he said to put it on hold.
I processed the last week.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm just, yeah, we'll have that discussion
I think
later.
that's another discussion
Yeah.
for another time.
Yeah.
But don't forget it.
Okay.
So I personally think at this time, we obviously are going to help, but we need to have those amounts. So.
Yep. Okay.
So let's move on. Discuss and consider paying for insurance of Rescue 305.
Hi, morning. Hey,
So I think you want us to figure out how to pay Libertyville back for use of their,
Yes, it's $159 a month.
for that one
Yes,
thing.
For
it is.
insurance.
Yes,
I think that's very high
that's what they pay currently.
for that one.
Yes, ma'am.
What's that include? Do they have
That's
an-
full coverage.
on that
insurance.
vehicle?
Yes,
the
What-
tires.
That's just, the reason that I asked this is because I have three trailers and I
Right.
pick up in a car and I pay $149.
well, that's what Christie pays. She's in charge of that vehicle. And I
What year
reached
is
out
that?
to her. I'm sorry,
What year is that vehicle?
till 2014.
So,
Do they have any other vehicles out there that could be included that amount?
No, that's just that one vehicle.
So you want us to pay their insurance?
because we're using the vehicle.
That's correct.
Because you want us to pay their insurance, that means if something happened to it, we get the money. Because we have the insurance.
It
That's
sounds,
just how
That's
insurance
correct.
works.
no, it sounds to, yes, but it sounds to me like we just need to like pay them $159 a month to use the vehicle. Let them do
That'd
the
be,
insurance.
that would be until at least we get our other vehicle in January.
Correct. So that makes sense. And
For
that's a
March.
pretty cheap vehicle. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
hopefully January.
The main concern is liability, so it's not about who gets paid for a new
Right.
vehicle, it's.
No, I get that. I guess I was thinking if they already had insurance, maybe we should just pay them.
Well,
Or
yes,
if
that-
we're gonna
that-
keep it, should we just add it to our insurance until we just call Joe and say, hey, I have this vehicle?
Well, we have added it to our insurance. We
Then where
added
we-
that.
Oh, you've
one.
already added it.
Yes,
Now you're asking.
we've
us.
added
Okay.
that and then just taken care of it. That's correct.
So is it gonna have to be doubling
I'm
insured?
confused.
Yeah,
No, we added it with Joe whenever we took over the insurance. And we asked that he take over and he said that was no problem. So I guess we just maintained the status quo.
So, all right, wait a minute. I got
I'm
back up.
confused too.
No.
Okay, so what's the $159 a month?
That's what currently Liberty bills pay.
But why are they
Or
paying if it's
305.
on our insurance?
I
For
don't
us
think you'd
to
be double
use it.
insured. You can't.
No, 305, we're currently using it, but we're able to staff the vehicle. It's in our possession. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, Michael, this, okay, so Libertyville Fire and
Correct.
Rescue is paying for insurance on a vehicle that they own.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I'll stop there for a second. So then did we put a vehicle that they own that they're paying insurance on our insurance policy?
No,
Okay,
no. No, we're able to use it.
yeah,
So
but why did,
since it's in our possession.
okay, so why are we saying to Joe Vins? Is Joe insuring Libertyville Fire and Rescue's vehicle?
No,
Okay,
no, he's not.
okay. So all we need to do, if I understood Susie correctly, is just reimburse
Correct. For the
Libertyville
one-
Fire and Rescue $159 a month.
Correct. We'll do it for December, and January.
Okay,
Do you have that in your budget?
Yes.
all right, so where did this thing with Joe Vins come from? I'm confused.
When we first got the vehicle back in October.
Right.
That's it, that we cover it, or our people are covered when we use the vehicle.
Okay, so we're talking about,
Okay, got it.
we're insuring our people
Correct.
driving somebody else's vehicle.
Thank you
Got
for
it.
the
Okay.
clarification.
It took a
I'm
while
sorry
for it
for
to
the
register.
confusion, but.
Okay,
yes.
so yeah, no, well, if it's in your budget, we appreciate that you communicated that to us. Thank you, but
Okay.
we don't need a motion or anything then, because
No.
you can pay for it then.
That's correct.
But we do
Well, no, I had
appreciate
more
the
rabbits than I could shake a
information.
stick at.
That's right. I was just thinking that.
Okay,
It's
thanks,
even
Brian.
funny that-
So I don't think there needs to be a motion. If
No.
you've got the money in your budget,
Yes.
as long as it's not, my only issue is it better not be double insured,
No,
No.
it's not.
because that's against the law.
No, it's not.
I don't
So
know
we're
who to do it.
insuring our folks who are driving the vehicle.
Right.
And
Where
Fire,
they're just
Libertyville
covered.
Fire and Rescue is insuring the vehicle.
Correct.
So how many times have you used this in the last, since October, 2 months? How many times have you used it?
Probably used it over 15, 20 times.
Wow,
So you've had both rigs and that out? 15
So
or 20
when a
times?
rig goes down, we use that as a backup to go out, stabilize the patient, wait for
Sure.
a rig to come available and then transfer.
Okay, so that's not an actionable item as far as I'm concerned, because it's,
right.
thank you, Brian.
Sure.
Allow claims, and let's start with Addie. Draw lots for City of Packwood write-in candidate. It's not you, Lee.
I know, I was just, so she officially withdrew?
Yes,
Okay.
Thursday at 7:22.
So we did this when we canvassed the election, and so that candidate withdrew, which is why we're doing this.
Can we get a background on this? For the same amount of votes came in,
Yeah.
write-ins?
There were 5 votes, each person got 1. The person that was drawn doesn't live in the city limits,
So
so she could have,
she had to
Stay.
officially give hers.
we had to include her. I couldn't take her out of the drawing.
So it was Abby's fault, basically, is what it boils down to, Chelsea.
Yep. So the next highest vote getter again would be a tie, Matt Dice, Sean Coleman, Chad Bemis, Jane Wiggins. So those 4 names are in there.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
And they each got 1 vote.
I can't let that hide.
Matt, guys,
That guy's.
And Matt has not volunteered. He was written in on this.
Correct.
But I think he is a current council member. I
My
don't know.
understanding is he was, but didn't run for election, or he resigned before the election.
So right now, we're on hold waiting to see if he accepts.
And if he doesn't, then
You get to draw again.
Oh, good.
no,
Oh,
Then we have one.
he has to do so, if he resigns, he has to do so within 10 days
In
in
writing.
writing, and then it's vacant. And they can,
When is your next election for Packwood City Council?
2025.
Well, I hope we have this done.
very good, Abby.
Abby, thank you for all your effort.
Yep,
Did you get that in the minutes too?
sure did.
All right. Want to read it back to her?
Abby, thanks for all your work on that. I think it's been a learning process for all of us. Make committee reports.
So I was curious how our broadband project is going. So I pretended to be well, I actually kind of been interested and called me till said, hey,
I'm Joe Ledger. When am I gonna get my?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what if I want to get internet? And I didn't like the answer I heard.
Okay.
And so I emailed John Kinney, who's the guy we've been working
Right,
with
right.
at the corporate level. I want to make clear that we intend to follow the stipulations of the county grant, but we encountered some pretty big roadblocks with the wireless project that we are working as fast as we can to remedy. Since this happened in September, we have actually made substantial progress, but aren't quite ready in Jefferson County for everything yet. Situation required me to find new tower sites as well. We have a professional contractor hired to complete the work. Our equipment manufacturer and vendor are assisting us with new design and tower locations. I had all of them fly into Fairfield last month to hammer out the details. We're working through quite a bit of back-end programming and provisioning that was missed. So the 3 customers we have on this new technology are essentially test customers. So apparently they have 3 people testing it. The exchange between me and the person, that answered the phone and is a result of the fact that we have not switched to our new process yet. They're still within the window of our agreement, but hadn't heard anything. And originally Mike had told us the end of December 23. Obviously that didn't happen. So I was just curious where we were. So it just sounds like they had some tower issues. They lost the site and had to find new sites. So they have another year really.
So
I can tell you that I've visited with or had conversations with several folks over the last week about Newtel. If you go down by Round Prairie Park, they can't get it.
Did they used to be able to?
I don't know the answer.
They should in the new systems.
And that's what I told them, and they said they would talk with Newtel, and it was going to be very difficult. They
Well,
probably can get better reception out of Van Buren County. I'd also talked with a gentleman out that way, but he's very happy with it. So, it's
yeah, I think,
everything.
on this agreement that we have with them, we're really not gonna know until they get this new technology, because the reason we went with them, there was some new technology that can, we were told, go through the trees and hills, which was the reason all these folks can't get it with the current technology. My concern was, I don't want people to have to pay $2,000 or $3,000 if we're using ARPA money. They're gonna have to. So what we agreed on is they're gonna have to do, and the state program that they got funds for also said it's the last mile hookup, which means they need to hook it up. So that's my biggest concern when all this happens, that we hold them to that.
Yes, I don't have a copy of that agreement.
So auditor's office.
Okay.
Does.
Okay, great.
I've got a copy if I can get to her. So you don't have- The question I have for the board is, and I know in the agreement that there is a specific time frame that this is supposed to be completed by. Now, I suppose since we were the contracting entity, we can extend that if we chose to do so. But my question would be, A, I guess I'm gonna back up and ask it a different way. Given the conversation and what you just read in the email gives me pause for thought because, well, we've run into things that we didn't know that we were going to run into, which sounds to me like the previous generation, if you will, hadn't done their legwork and was giving us a bunch of lip service. Because I would have thought they would have known when they came here and were talking to us and talking to Mahaska County and whomever else they talked to, that they would have had all of that already determined as far as what their costs were. So he comes along and he sells it to Liberty Communications, whatever it is.
Mhm.
They're finding out. I don't know what they're finding out, but it's not what they'd hoped it would be.
Well, and honestly, the first time that I talked to this new guy
Right.
several months ago, he said he hadn't even looked at the agreement yet. really.
Right.
So I'm not sure that was a huge factor in their purchase, but
So my question is for our attorneys. Obviously, we can withhold the remaining $275,000. My question is that if they don't complete the agreement, and I'm not casting dispersions on anybody here, so don't misunderstand. But if they look at that and they go, this would bankrupt us if we went and had to do all of this stuff. Do we get the $500,000 back? Or is that,
I think, Lee, this was a committee report, although I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but
right, I
just a
think we
committee
all do.
report. We should talk about this another time.
I
Okay.
don't think we'll know anything for another year because according to the agreement, it
Right.
has to be done by next December, end of December 24. So let's say a year from
Yeah.
now, if we don't see progress, we'll have that
well, I get
conversation.
Elizabeth the contractor. I just
Yeah.
would like to know, even if we have a future discussion, if the leverage we have is recouping that money or force them.
I can say for sure that just because Natel sold doesn't mean that that obligation goes away. What our remedies are if they breach that contract, we can figure that out at the time
Yeah.
of breach. We
Yeah.
certainly have some remedies, but I can't say that they'll.
And I'm not suggesting they will, don't
Right.
misunderstand.
And the other piece is they also receive money from the state of Iowa
Okay,
and through the OCIO. And so that body would also get involved too. I mean, it's a multi.
right. And I can clearly understand an individual or a company stepping into a situation and then finding out after the fact, maybe they should have done more research before they bought. But the fact is that they're not going to want to go belly up.
Right. I'm actually cautiously more optimistic
Okay.
after this communication than I had been. I've just been concerned for the county residents, because we let people know.
Sure.
And there are a lot of people still that struggle with internet in the county. It's gonna be another year, probably, realistically.
Any
But it is what
more
it is.
comments about any committee reports?
Yes, one is the opioid, and I just want to thank Elizabeth and Shannon because they did the report that was due December 1st, so thank you.
So I had early childhood, but I didn't have early childhood because we didn't have a quorum. But we had,
Did you go? Just curious.
well, I was on Zoom. So I was as close as if I were there. I could see them. We did have a lengthy discussion over the new daycare. And I was a little bit miffed that there was I don't know what these letters stand for, CACFP audit. There were 14 findings during that visit, which is very concerning. They asked the director for clarification, did not receive any. They asked the director for the report. And she declined the request and told them to go to the Department of Education. So I'm not, at this point, obviously, we're not going to discuss this up there until the next meeting. But one of the folks on the board said, well, there was, that's what I'm looking for. I can't remember what she said, but that there was privacy issues or whatever. And I said, no, I said, you're absolutely mistaken on that. This audit is public information. Findings.
Yeah.
They've taken tax dollars and they cannot refuse to disclose that information. And whatever the organization, oh, she said HHS. And I said, she said to go to the Department of Education. That has nothing to do with HHS. So I said, I don't know what's going on here, but
It depends what department inspects daycares, and I don't.
well, I don't know either, but to refuse to provide findings of a public audit or an audit that's public information is concerning. And so I'm sure that they're correcting those findings, or I certainly would hope so. So our next meeting, I think we'll get more into this, but they did withdraw their request for funding that I talked to you about earlier for their financial assessment.
Did you see a CACFP? That's the Child and Adult Care Food Program. It is managed by the Department of Ed.
Okay.
The food program,
Yeah,
okay.
but there were 14 findings in that audit.
What that food program is daycares can get food if they have some attendees that meet certain clarifications, and then they in turn, there are a lot of requirements to fulfill. So
Well, we had a family that qualified for scholarship for preschool, but that daycare does not qualify. The preschool does not qualify. They're not certified, let me put it that way. And so when asked about the certification, they said, yes, we can get the certification, but then they never did. So then we had to go back to the parents and tell them that while they qualified for the scholarship, they couldn't use it at this daycare. So I don't know if the parents are going to take steps to see if they can facilitate.
now that could be problematic because I know that was one of the intentions,
Mhm.
This is what I'm saying.
the
It's-
original.
we're being stonewalled a lot. And, and I hearken back to what Susie said very, very early on when y'all provided the funding, which I have no problem with that. But Susie correctly pointed out that we had given no money to community childcare.
Mhm.
And this childcare entity received lots of funding from this, and it appears because of, to me personally, because of the stonewalling, it appears that, I don't want to be over melodramatic, but it seems to me that if you don't want to provide the information, then there's something in the information you don't want us to see.
Can you call up one of the board members? Because you would know them. I mean, it's like Brian Hunter and people.
I suggested at our discussion
Hmm.
that we reach out to Brian because he is the president. We'll see whether or not that happens. I can do that, but I didn't want to overstep.
Sure,
I wanted Tammy to be able to,
to do that.
if that's the direction she wanted to go. But yes,
Well,
I
thanks
agree with
for-
you 100%.
Thanks for updating us.
That's too bad.
But it was short.
Good.
Oh,
Brian, hop up here. Meet with ambulance director. That's good.
Hmm.
How are you? It's been so long since we saw you.
I know, right?
Seems like you were just here.
To date, we've done 127 calls for the month. That's been since the latest financial outlets we have.
All the same thing.
Prior to the holidays, I got with Chauncey about writing up the new hospital agreement, rewording it, so that's in the process. Worked with Jack for a couple of the waivers as far as policy and the waiver for how riders will come along, relatives and things like that. It's basically up to the medic in charge, since they're on the scene, to their discretion. Chauncey had took a look at that as well, and he agreed everything looked good. Did one transport the other day to the U, and so far we have 28 transports from the hospital to outside agencies.
What did you tell me? What did you tell us just a minute ago? How many calls?
We've done 126 for the month so
Okay.
far. 154 for the month of October. These numbers, when I had a meeting with the billing company last week, they are real numbers. They are true numbers. The only number that ever fluctuates is the bill patient. You know, we don't know if we're going to get that in initially. But
What's this graph?
that's based on age of patient, and I'm not exactly sure. I haven't
Because,
got into
well,
it
that's
that
what I
well.
thought, and
Yeah,
then it goes up to 121. and
right,
I'm like,
right. I only got this dashboard about
No,
a week and a
it's-
half ago, so.
appreciate having this. It's
No,
helpful.
absolutely.
The encouraging thing here is that 48% are insurance
That's correct.
payers, and they're gonna be
That's
the better payers, 30%
We
so
did-
far.
We do have our first insurance coming in from Aetna. It's for 104. It's only a small amount, but that hasn't been deposited as of yet. So I just got a
Well, that'll be a
notification.
good amount to do the first process on.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. So, but they are real numbers. They are coming in. So, like you said, the majority are insurance patients.
And 30% are Medicare.
Correct.
Uh,
20% is bill patient, which is your patient refusals, lift assist, things like that. 2% are
Medicaid.
Medicaid, correct? Which
No,
is
that's helpful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
which is a lot less than what I had thought for Medicaid in this area.
So we're still in service.
Yes.
So I'm looking at a bill from Frontline Print. Web. That you want to use ARPA money for? A defibrillator book, you got 954.
That's for the for our monitors. It's the handbook that goes with it.
How many monitors do you have?
We have three heart monitors.
But this says you got 954 of those.
No, that's it.
Do you have money in your budget for that?
Yes, we do.
I think you need to take it out of there, and the reason is, and I haven't.
Just not bill it for ARPA, bill it for operations.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to really look at the ARPA dollars
Sure
because we just got some recent numbers and we
Okay.
need to look at them closer, but I hate.
Yeah, we'll redo it underneath operation.
So again, did you buy 954 books?
No, those are just the binding that they charge. I don't know why it says 954.
Yeah,
Those are just
black and
for-
white copies,
correct.
defibrillator book.
How many pages in the book?
I'm not sure how many pages.
Well,
I know we have.
pages.
I know we have.
Yeah, it's just
three.
not clear.
That's a lot of pages.
I know we have 3 books that go with the monitors. They
What'd you
help
say?
us keep up
Right,
the
no.
maintenance on that.
1 and 8. It's 8 cents each. It looks like but that's $76. Black, white copies. The expensive part is there's 6 books. Oh, the total is $377.
49.54,
But we do have it,
The
and our
number of
budgets cover it, yes.
number of books.
8 cents each, so they're not, looks to me like you got pamphlets of some sort. That's a lot of pamphlets.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
They're just some maintenance. Troubleshooting in case something goes wrong with the monitor.
Yes. Oh, well, there's 6 books on here that are
Mhm.
protocols.
Correct.
Okay, so that's for new,
You have protocols and our troubleshooting books for the defibrillators.
okay.
but the other books are the pamphlets that are 8 cents each. What are those?
Those are the new hire pamphlets
Um,
we have done for our new hire classes in August.
Okay. Okay. Oh, all the printing, so I bet that was
Correct.
954 pages
Yes.
at 8 cents each. That would make sense.
You want us to code this under operations?
Correct.
Mhm.
Brian, is there anything else you'd like to tell us that's
Not at this time. We went through the high school with John Grumwald, did a walkthrough with them
Okay.
to see where all the doors are and the exits, and gives our crew a good idea of where we need to stage and how things are laid out. We got a map, and we have in all our ambulances now.
So you're gonna do that, like a peek and then the others. and-
Yes,
and those other schools.
that's correct.
Okay.
It's a work in progress, but it's important to have updated maps for that area, find out which doors are electronically locked and which doors require a key. And which doors don't have a lock or a key, so,
Mhm.
and there's some of those out there, so. It's good to work hand in hand with them so we're all on the same page.
Speaking of lock and keys, where are we at on our doors?
That is a good question. Prior to the holiday, I got with Jerry, and he said he had all the equipment in.
Oh, good.
It's just a matter of having somebody available to come by and install it. So that's kind of where we're at.
We had talked about that before, they just said lock and keys, and it just,
Right, no, I understand.
How was your parking lot?
I'm sorry. Oh, it was good this morning.
Okay.
It was good over, I spent a couple of days there with our Thanksgiving. I had to fill in for a couple of guys, so it actually went real well, so no issues as of yet.
Okay. Thanks.
So all right. You got one.
I got one. Thank you.
This is a lot of checks.
Well,
for
stranger.
ambulance.
Yeah.
Election.
Election workers, that's
For the weekend, I didn't get to see this.
You were on vacation.
Ride your motorcycle, I would, no.
No, not this weekend. A couple weeks ago I was.
Oh, I gotta go over to Darren, he's.
You got a project?
Contract.
For Kristen.
Thank you.
good.
I, now that I know that.
Do you have one for the West Day?
All I did was unlock it.
Trying to pay for everything.
So is it just Food
They didn't
bound.
have such a thing as that back then.
Does the academy not usually have
Whatever
those?
they're putting in there.
Because usually,
I don't know if they have a standard or not.
I'll call up there, if not, see what the sheriff's office says.
They just need to. Yeah, I think they said that. Maybe
No,
they
they
have
haven't.
that much. I know they have.
You built-
She's 10.
PD
So she knows about
I guess, yeah.
I know they have. like-
My son
But
is
we could-
13,
I could probably get-
not that excited.
The jails?
Not excited about election.
Oh, John, more, okay.
Teenager.
Well, I'll call.
No,
Call the
he did a lot
academy.
of dance. He did track last year. I was trying to get him
Well,
to do
it was my
track.
assumption that the academy has the contract, because they deal with so many different entities, they probably have one universal one. What do you need any specific names?
Basically, the way I understand
It's a
it,
fixed price, right?
Chris, can you tell me about what your heat bill is every month? What's your heating bill?
It's anywhere from like 280
prorated out like
I don't
20 years or
understand.
something.
I'd like to.
So you mean a
I'd like to
contract
get
depending on the time of
with the
year,
employee,
and I
not
have
with
no
the
idea.
Yes.
She
Got
comes
it.
stay with
But
us.
in my mind, it
Is
isn't
that
just
Yeah,
the
let's-
windows. What else?
Yeah, and
What
but every
happens
agency has their own different policies,
Well,
maybe you and I
I
can
can't
get
speak to
together.
that, I think it probably just depends
She's
on.
Yeah,
maybe about halfway.
You know,
through, she might
because
get
I
in the
can't-
middle
Belly's
of
up
that.
to the Sally Port and that's
She
constant
stays
for
right
everybody.
in.
This is
Where my
awesome.
office is.
Charles is Kaiser.
Figured out how to-
So I think it just depends, Susie, on what time of year it is. I can
So
remember
if
bills.
we could continue on with the
She
meeting,
does that. She
These are
turkey
bonded
trot Thursday morning is now flash.
And Susie, we pay for 55% of the electric and gas based on measurements that have been done a couple different times.
do you think that's fair, Chris?
I honestly do,
But,
Where did they
and
put
that,
that?
on the city side of things, they got new,
yeah.
I mean, I think
Black
every
around.
HVAC system's been replaced in that building now. I don't think there's an old one left. Pearson and Pearson
Okay,
has
I'm gonna
historically
walk- I
done
walked
the
that walk.
work in there, and there's
Sure.
several different.
I had asked Chris how much her bills were over there. She said 200 and some to 800.
Just depends on the time
Had a
of
water
year.
leak. He
But
said,
I
or
will
what?
tell you though,
Her office.
those
Yeah.
two windows, if we don't do anything, I would ask that Dave come over and put some
Yeah,
plastic on the inside of the
Yeah.
windows. We used to do that.
At the
we
very
haven't
least.
done it.
well, I think he ought to do that now,
I think so now.
because realistically, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
while
We used to do
anyway.
that, but we haven't done it for,
I would go ahead and
was that something that one of you will reach out today to do? You know, this
The moment we see him, we will ask him.
thing. That'll help some.
yeah, no, that needs to happen.
I don't know why, and I can't speak to why those windows weren't replaced when they did the remodel, because every other window was replaced. And we have since paid for all that glass in the lobby, that came out of our budget one year, so I don't know. But thank you.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion that we, for the claims and reports, $141,540.37.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.